All I have for you is a word. Tenet.
This is my 8th film with Christopher Nolan. They've all been complicated. When you step into Chris's world, you know you're going to be engaged in something you've never done before. We sometimes think that all these past films have led to being able to technically do the film we're about to take on. But in terms of what the film's subject is, they don't really help you. We figure out the design at Chris's house in what we call the garage, which we've always done. Before we leave that space, we would have figured out the design and the look and the places we're going. We won't leave that until we know it. Usually there's a lot of description in Chris's films, but there's so much to explain in that script that the physical descriptions weren't there. There's a lot of questions and descriptions like, well, how does that work? What's an inversion machine? How does that work? What's the algorithm? You know, do we do an opera house? Like all these questions. You go through the same thing as the film. It's like, is that the grandfather theory? Is that, you know, is it a closed time loop? Is that, you know, so there's lots of questions. I mean, usually when I read it, I just accept it and I just go with it because I don't want to know too much about the mechanics yet. I just want to know sort of visually how it might feel. Because we like to put audiences in a place and fill the place, and we like to do things practically because of that, and we like to do things practically because they're more fun. I think that the genre of the film sort of dictates the number of places we go to. Tenet was about this globe-trotting world spy story that we needed to show that what was in danger was the whole world. We always find when we're stuck on a soundstage, we kind of lose all this energy. And a film like this needs this sort of massive amount of energy. So, you know, we'll be done in Estonia. It's like, great, let's get on a plane, let's go to India. So production-wise, because I always prepare ahead, but I also need to be with Chris to open new sets and new locations. So I might like open the set in the morning in Estonia, get on a flight to Mumbai, you know. So it's a little nuts.
As I understand it, we're trying to prevent World War III.
I'm not saying Armageddon here.
No. Something worse.
Every time we start a film, I usually start on one thing. You know, is it the Batmobile? Is it the Ranger? Or is it Tars? Okay, I'm just gonna do something while I think about this. Ever since we did The Prestige, I've loved these sort of odd little mechanisms that turn. And so the turnstile of these two barrels that kind of close themselves and open them, I love that kind of odd automaton mechanics. Inside the turnstile, because they close up and you have to hide a double so you can both come out. So, you know, we use all those secret doors from the Prestige magic cabinets. So you run in, so JD would run and get behind the door, and then you could both come out. We've been down this road before because we did chases on, obviously, the Batman films. So I sat with Chris and he's like, yeah, I need a piece of highway that I can own. And it's like, yeah, you do, but it's worse than that because you've written a fire truck and another truck, and then you got the armored car, and then you got the camera car. It's like, it's worse. You need a 4-lane highway. We were wandering around Eastern Europe, and we have one day left. Chris said, I've never been to Tallinn. I said, well, how do you even know about Tallinn? And he goes, he saw this film, Darkness in Tallinn, not like a week before. It's like, well, we've got one day, let's go to Tallinn. So we went to Tallinn. We went past this 1980s Soviet concert hall that was the 1980s Olympics, called the Lina Hall. And it's like, that's an incredible building. It's like, that's our opera house. And at the same time, you know, you're in these sort of vans with the local contact, and you're saying, I don't suppose you have a highway we could close, do you? And it was like, well, yes. So, you know, just by off chance, Estonia was just this wonderful place full of these gems that we could use.
You want to crash a plane, but not from the air. No, it's so dramatic. Well, how big a plane? That part is a little dramatic.
When you read the scenes, like, okay, we're going to drive a plane into a building. It's like, okay, we've done plenty of miniatures, or we call them bigatures because we tend to make miniatures really big, I mean, not full size, and then bash them into things. So that sequence didn't really bother me. I think Tom, the producer, said, oh, maybe we should buy a out of commission plane. We went to Victorville, and then I think Chris, he was just looking at the 747s, and it was like, well, we got a real 747. Why don't we build a building and crash it into it? Yeah, let's do it. I mean, like, why fake it if you don't have to? And then it was about, well, how do we find a place that they would agree on to let me build a building? We knew we had the plane, and then we had to get permission to use the runway to come in at the building, and then turning a 747. So masses and masses of logistics. The bit I enjoy is we sort of wander around the world trying to find an unusual solution. I think we push each other, and that's why I think we work well together, is because, you know, we push each other on design.